steering wheel, blood on the seat, blood on the hands of all the ones that lie. Storms are coming, best to get to running, or stand your ground once the bullets fly. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. When you meet your maker, you can ask him why. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die.
They just let them do it. They just let them fucking gas us. It didn't stop them. They didn't stop them. They didn't give a fuck. Seriously, guys?
They'll kill your mama. They'll kill your daughter. They'll kill your wife and your auntie and your sister too. Nah, they don't care none. Badges they don't wear none. But soon enough we'll all be shooting back at you. Really ain't a fucking thing you can do. We got way more guns, we got way more goons. If we stand our ground when the bullets fly. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. When you meet your maker, you can ask him why. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die.
You better get fucking ready. You better wake up. If you think this shit's fucking just some social media shit, you ain't paying attention. 3 things are true. Number 1, the black community told us this shit for years. We didn't listen. Number 2, ICE is a white supremacist wet dream. And number 3, the government's not going to save you.
All right, everybody. All right. Check into the stream. How we doing today? It's hump day. What is it? Wednesday, August 12th. We're back on the daily news updates, the daily news streams. We had the Wisconsin and Minnesota state primaries or other primaries yesterday, but I live in Minnesota. Been to Wisconsin often. I work in Wisconsin, or I've worked in Wisconsin. So I wanted to make sure I covered the 2 primaries that were so close to home. What up, Renegade Chungus? I see you guys. Check in over there on YouTube. Hello, what up? Good intro, 3 facts at the end. Facts. Yeah, it's Everlast. They combine with Jolly, and Jolly sent me the music video when we were in Maine. And some of those footages, I believe, like it's all fast motion, but a lot of it looks like I filmed, or if I didn't film it, I was right next to the person filming. So you guys saw a lot of those images at the start of the year, and I don't want people to forget. What up, Portland? Hello, how you doing? Hello. Yeah, so a lot of people at the national level are obviously upset with that Francesca Hong lost yesterday in Wisconsin. And then, it's still going to be a Democrat, but it's the governor race. But a lot of people forgot about Peggy Flanagan in Minnesota, and that's a U.S. Senate race. And she is the non-establishment candidate in the election. Like a lot of elections were focused on because of big money that was spent for, I guess, the more establishment centrist candidate. And then you had a more people-powered anti-establishment movement that's continuing. You got some DSA candidates, or I guess aligned with DSA, but not DSA. Peggy Flanagan isn't DSA or like that, but she's definitely like a progressive candidate over Angie Craig. Associated Press just posted this. Progressives have scored big primary wins this year, but that doesn't necessarily mean Democratic voters are moving left. See what AP says.
So are Democratic voters moving to the left? After some big progressive wins in this year's primaries, you might think the answer is yes, but the results this week make things a little more complicated. We're 83 days out from the midterm elections when voters will decide who controls Congress, and this year's primaries are giving us some clues about what Democratic voters want heading into November. In Minnesota, progressive Peggy Flanagan beat a more centrist member of Congress, Representative Angie Craig, in the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate. A week earlier in Michigan, progressive Abdul Al-Sayed did the same thing, beating out centrist Democrat Representative Haley Stevens, also for the Democratic Senate nomination. But then in Wisconsin's primary for governor, Democratic Socialist Francesca Hong narrowly lost to a more moderate Democrat, David Crowley. So if voters aren't necessarily choosing progressives across the board, what are they choosing?
Because it's crazy, like I'm seeing the discourse, especially about, I mean, people in Wisconsin that wanted Hong to win, whatever, like wanted Hong to win, and Crowley dropped out of the race. I gotta move this up. Dropped out completely, decided from God to rejoin, which I really just think was the Democratic Party establishment thinking, dude, we need you right now. The communists are taking over. So you like dropped out of the race and came back in, and I don't know, man, like last night was a little fucky. I don't know what they had to go and they downloaded the wrong vote tally, or they got the audit instead of the actual voting numbers, and they had to go back, and it's Milwaukee, which is supposed to be a bit, I don't know, a little weird, definitely weird happenings last night. But in general, though, I mean, the fact that, if you are just like if you're like a liberal, but you like want to stay there and you don't want to go further left, I guess, whatever, you don't have a choice. At least people like were rallying behind Hong, and like had a grassroots efforts for Hong, but David Crowley was literally chosen for you. If you're like a centrist lib, he was chosen for you, and that's who you had to vote for to prevent the communist takeover of Wisconsin, or whatever the hell the centrist libs are saying every single day now. So yeah, I mean but that makes sense, because when 2024, when it came time to vote, we were given Kamala Harris. There was zero primary process, which shows you with how much energy and people showing up to vote in general for these primaries, the fact that we didn't have a primary in 2024 is the fault of the Democratic Party. That's the Democratic Party. It's not like people can just go, let's go have a people primary. I mean, I guess you could, but what would it mean? What would that even, what could you even do with it? So in 2024, they literally just chose Kamala, similar to how the Democrats chose David Crowley for the centrist candidate, I guess. I don't know how that's going to do. I actually, like, people were talking about electability of Francesca Hong against Tom Tiffany. David Crowley versus Tom Tiffany looks less optimal, because he's like no one even knows who the hell David Crowley is. He was chosen. He didn't have anyone rally behind him, really. People, like, a lot of votes were like because of all the noise around Francesca Hong, because it's new. That's really what it is. Like, it's crazy how much of a microscope is put on these non-establishment left politicians who really, I mean, I guess, like, again, the craziest thing she said was Thanksgiving. We don't want Thanksgiving anymore, but like that can, like, if she won, someone would go, hey, don't say that anymore. We're not canceling Thanksgiving. Okay, we're not doing that. And then she would be like, okay. But then most of her other actual policies that mean something are the ones that you actually care about. Whereas you have the opposite in Maga, who are convicted pedophiles running the fucking government. You got Pete Hegseth coked out, okay? Like, you got Pete Hegseth coked out. And I don't want to hear it from establishment libs. Like I've seen more like I'm arguing with Hutch on X. I was arguing with J.K. Rowling last week, and now I'm arguing with Hutch, who put the DSA Ukraine take, which I've already pushed against. But Hutch is one of these influencers that I'm just like all year. He's just been doing just like punching left all year. And I get it when you're trying to win primaries and you're winning the primary, but it's like even during Metro Surge, and I said this to him, we had a back and forth before the stream started. But I'm like, it's been all year long. Where do I find my replies? This app sucks. But I've been going back and forth with them. Everyone, this account, Big Doofus, who has 35 followers. I mean, credit to them, but like they're just kind of using social media. They're not trying to influence shit. They're just kind of a social media influencer with with those numbers, okay? And it's like, rightfully, what's the Democratic Party's approval rating? That is the establishment. That is the team that is existing. And it's like, well, what is the DSA's track record? How many competitive general elections have they? They're like just starting, really. Like the energy behind the DSA, which you don't even need to have support all of the DSA platforms, and I don't, which is why he showed me the Ukraine video, which I already went against last week or whatever. Do I need to start clipping my own stream? So which I need to. I need stream clippers, especially if I'm going to be fighting establishment influencers, because they're gonna clip. They have all this shit already. They clip themselves on stream and already have like an immediate clip to show to prove what they. Oh, I already went into that. Well, I already did. I already said how wrong the DSA's position on Ukraine is. But that wouldn't be hard to fight against. That wouldn't be difficult to fight against. Whereas their other policies, when it comes to getting money out of politics and money out of Israel, and fighting for healthcare and fighting for infrastructure here in the United States, that is the energy that I mostly will align with. But yeah, their DSA's position on Ukraine is backwards. But but it's crazy because when I was in the Ukraine influencer sphere, I couldn't fight with anyone that was anti-Ukraine, really, unless they were a nationally recognized figure. If I was fighting, I fought with mostly Maga in the time that I influenced for Ukraine, and I was shit on for it every fucking day. And then I would be like, okay, well, I'm calling out leftists too that are like anti-Ukraine, and I'm fighting with them. But whenever I pushed against MAGA and Republicans and conservatives, I got shit for that, and I got called a black sheep. I was called all types of things. I was like, oh, Mercado's divisive figure for Ukraine, because I was like, MAGA was literally regurgitating the same shit you see from DSA, literally lockstep with DSA on Ukraine. So I was pushing against both of them because I have principles, because I know that. So, but when it comes time to vote for domestic American issues, you need to have a more broader brain about it, because the status quo politicians of the Democratic Party are not the answer, because they consistently, and you can, again, and then you can, here you go. This is the back and forth they had with him. Because again, Hutch is a Democratic establishment influencer. He's not an anti-establishment influencer. He's not, I mean, truly, like, it's one thing if you're just doing streams and you're like doing content to say what's going on. And oftentimes that can be unbiased in general, because you're just talking about what's going on. But it's like, he's literally like a Democratic Party influencer. Okay. Like the establishment. So I asked him why he's like this. Because it's like, I was seeing this shit during Metro Surge, just like fighting with, or like using your influence for the Democratic Party, which is, again, what he is. He's not just like a person that does stuff and it's literally Democratic Party influencing. Like, that's his platform. Okay. So it's right to push against this. Like, if it was just like a random entertainment podcaster and their main content niche was, I don't know, something else, like, it wouldn't be worth it. It's not worth it, because it's like, whatever. But because Hutch is a specific influencer in this sphere, it's like, you got to push back. So I asked him why the hell he's like this. So he goes, are you asking me why a partisan Democrat, small L liberal, has harsh words for an illiberal movement who openly despises liberals and Democrats? You know why they despise liberals and Democrats? Because they continue a status quo that doesn't change. We continue to fund Israel. I've been like on the left for 5 minutes and I can understand why liberals and Democrats are despised, but I can see it for myself because while I'm out covering the effects of the Trump administration, while I spent my entire year in 2024 reading the Project 2025, I'm literally like, you type Andrew Mercado Maga into Google, and I have literally like, wow, first thing, Mercado Media is an independent journalist who has taken a very loud stance against MAGA as of recent years. Andrew Mercado threatened, showed up to his house. I was fucking lambasted by right-wing media. Like I literally fight with MAGA all day. Like that's most of my content is fighting with MAGA because I used to be that. So I've like gone viral all year in right-wing spaces for shitting on MAGA and going against their whole policy agenda by literally physically being out there to cover the effects of it. And I'm seeing more energy given towards people on the left. I'm seeing more energy for people. I'm seeing more energy from liberals against leftists than I am for what MAGA is doing in general. And it's because maybe we just like accepted, oh, MAGA bad. So like MAGA bad. And that's just that. And it's crazy because then you'll see the same liberal influencers argue that, well, that's what we need to focus on. We need to focus on MAGA. But it's like, you haven't been. No, you haven't been. Not at all. Because if anything, I've continued to see more grassroots anti-establishment types continue to organize in different ways, whereas the establishment of the Democratic Party gave up fucking protesting already. They had the last No Kings video seminar, and you got to watch a fucking concert in what, March or something, and that was that. That was that. So then he goes, so I responded to Hutch. I said, yep. Seeing as this is the voting bloc you have to unite with, the numbers showing up for Democrats speak for themselves, which is true. Just in Minnesota alone, like Minnesota, look at how many, like Peggy Flanagan had more people show up for just Peggy Flanagan than all Republicans combined. That's before we even get to Amy Klobuchar, who had fucking 614,000 votes, brother. Okay, the Democrats in Minnesota are not losing. Okay, that's like twice the amount of all of the Republican votes combined for the gubernatorial. Insane. Wicked. It'll be more for the general probably, because there's a lot of people that, like me, who I didn't want to. I knew this was going to happen. I knew she was no shot of anyone else of winning, and I just don't want to continue. I just don't want to feel like I have to support establishment Democrats until it comes time to go 1v1. But even in the 1v1, it's like there's no shot that the Republicans in Minnesota even have a chance. There's no shot. Okay, because the numbers are speaking for themselves. People are showing up no matter what, whether it's the anti-establishment candidate or it's the establishment candidate. They're showing up because MAGA is that bad. So the time to go through all of this is now. The time to try to fight for more anti-established candidates is now, because the numbers are speaking for themselves. People are showing up. And when the energy, like, it'd be one thing if there was national energy behind Amy Klobuchar politicians. There just is by default, because blue, because other party and red party bad. That's really it. And when it comes to this race, I mean, shout out to Kobe Lane. Kobe Lane is definitely anti-establishment, but it has a lot, like, this is the U.S. Senate. This is superpower government, okay? Which is why I agree with the fact we should abolish the Senate. We have a House of Representatives. It's good. The Senate, too powerful. Oh, sorry. Amy Klobuchar is former senator. Well, never mind. This is for the governor. I'm so confused because we just keep recycling politicians through different facets of the government, guys. I'm sorry. My bad. Shout out to Kobe Lane. You should run for Senate someday. Well, this is for governor. My bad. So Amy Klobuchar will be our next governor. It's not even close. So, and again, Lisa Damuth has absolutely zero shot. Mike Lindell was the only one that could have potentially, but even then, no, because no, like he would have gotten destroyed too, but there would have been more propaganda money and Donald Trump's personal interest, whereas I don't think he'll have any interest at all now. Like he won't even probably say anything. I don't know. Maybe he'll say something. It'll be nothing compared to what he would have done. But even then, for Mike Lindell, Trump wasn't going to back him right away either. Probably thinks Minnesota's a lost cause for which Republicans are hopeless in Minnesota. No shot. So then there's for Senate, Michelle Tafoya has no chance. Because even like you stack the, I don't know, you figure if all those join, what? It's about the same numbers, if not more, for Peggy showing up as same as Amy Klobuchar's. But that's why you have more here. This race was hotter contested, I guess. And also how loud Royce White was for a little bit. But he didn't matter in the end, as usual. It's crazy there was a reality in which Republicans didn't even care about this at all, and Royce White was the nominee a couple years ago. He was the Republican nominee. That's what's sick about the Republican Party. Well, now he's done. So now it'll just be loud. What is Joyce White doing today? These loud figures. I'm done. I've left every group on Facebook. The people here think they are conservative, but they aren't. So seriously, imagine being stupid enough to demand the Save America Act, then vote for a candidate recruited by the people blocking the Save Act. It's like watching hamsters. Minnesota's in bad shape, but we already knew that. So the Save America Act and Save Act, right? Today we took a dark turn for the worse. Minnesota Republicans going pro-choice. Wow. All of you who voted for Tafoya should be ashamed of yourselves. The ones who didn't should be outraged. We're going to pull this state back from the crazy communists by abandoning our principles. Brother, you are, what do you mean? You put on a wig and go play in the WNBA. You already abandoned your principles. Like all week. But I mean, I don't know what principles you have when you beat your wife. You're a wife beater. Fuck you, go fuck yourselves. And nationwide, all these conservatives who talk about God, family, and country, then vote pro-choice. Yeah, more like conservatives who talk about God, family, and country, and then vote for someone like you. It's disgusting that you even had 45,000 people vote for you. Just right wing is so disgusting, guys. Like, it's like we're gonna talk a lot these next few months about the left. I mean, not really. I mean, once the primary season, it should be done, unless people like Hutch continue, which he has been all year. So it looks like I think he will, when it comes to fighting with people to the left of them. But the right wing is just disgusting. Like from the entire apparatus of it is just disgusting. You know, to take a word from Hillary, deplorable. Like just trash. Literally, like, I mean, but they dressed up as trash. They wore trash in 2024. I'm done. I've left every group on Facebook. The people here think they are conservative, but they aren't. They are centered, but that is still half left. They're half left still, guys. They voted against Minnesota and our country last night. Trump is a centrist and most Americans are moderate. Trump is a centrist is crazy. She left every group on Facebook, guys. It's over. Time to get back to work. I'm facing hate for my trans existence. So back to the grift. He gets a show on Alex Jones. That makes sense. The same hat that EDP 445 wears. That's you guys seen the documentary yet? I showed it yesterday. Mike Klum did another one. He did one on Boogie a couple years ago, and then he just did one on EDP 445, which is really gross. But he loves Trump, but it's the same hat. You see this guy? I mean, but again, they're all pedophiles. Most of the right wing is pedophiles, guys. There are actually few good people that are right wing, and the ones that are good people are just confused. Like they're just like don't know what they're doing. They're just lied to. But everyone else that is like an actor within the right wing is just like an almost evil person. There you go. Hold on. Where's the hat? Show the hat.
We're going to send these motherfuckers to hell.
There you go. There's his hat. They stick together.
Rightfully so, where they
And then
rightfully belong.
that's his chat logs with the minor. And like I said yesterday, very similar to how Maga shot up the Epstein files as if they didn't matter either. Crazy to be like, what's to celebrate? You lost your election. It's because the grift can continue because he's making a lot of money doing this. That's the truth. You guys think the grift is in left-wing politics? Absolutely not. Not unless you're selling out for the establishment. But even then, there's way more money in the right wing because you'll only get establishment money when they need you for election time. So like every couple years. Or unless like, yeah, because the mainstream, the people that watch mainstream left-wing news like have 3 or 4 platforms they watch. Thank you if you watch mine, but like how many times like I'm covering the same story and I'm shown a Midas touch thing. And it's like, dude, I mean, you follow me and I'm live covering the story and you're sending me the Midas touch article of the story I'm covering. Like, so people have their favorites. But beyond the favorites, if you're not one of the favorites on the left, you're not making anything. Because the money is in fighting against people that are fighting for things. And that's what Royce does. Royce is a troll, and you get paid way more money. You have way more viewers. You get way more sponsorship deals now. Because before, if you were like this type of person, you would get de-sponsored. But now that's not how that works anymore. Billionaires put money into right-wing products. So they can like survive off of Temu coffee products and shit. Retweeting Mike Flynn. Crazy. You didn't even get second place. You got third place. Now the real fun begins. I'll be starting my campaign for president. Oh, boy. We will win MVP of the WNBA, then head to the Oval. Just what Republicans are doing. Yeah, I don't know if Mike Lindell, he refuses to concede still. My Pillow founder Mike Lindell is refusing to concede in Minnesota's Republican gubernatorial primary, alleging irregularities in the vote totals. There's so many, Jesus. The businessman, who is backed by Trump, lost to Minnesota House Speaker Lisa Damuth by 11%. 11 points. It's a big loss. When asked by a reporter on his live network, Lindell TV, about whether he would concede the race if Associated Press called it for his opponent, the GOP candidate responded, "Why would I listen to the AP? There are 265,000 votes left to count. I'm down by 18,000 now," he continued. "I'm not going to give up until the votes counted." So he stepped down as My Pillow CEO to focus on the campaign, and now he lost the campaign, so now he's going to need a new grift. He lost his pillow company. He delivered a last-minute boost that didn't matter. Mike Lindell deserves a big win in Minnesota today, Trump wrote on Truth Social. There it is. Lindell's loss was the latest blow to President Trump's endorsement record. Yeah. Trump's endorsement record is not doing well. He's doing bad in general. Not going good for Maga like on anything. Whoa, Caroline Leavitt's gone. What the heck? Dang, I'll miss her lip injections. Her lip injection dots. Whoa. Caroline Leavitt's out of there. Gonna focus on her kids. She gone.
We have some breaking news for you right now. This is from President Trump on Truth Social. Our wonderful White House press secretary and one of my most trusted aides, Caroline Leavitt, will be departing her role at the end of the month so that she can spend more time with her beautiful young children and family. A decision I totally understand and respect. Caroline will now be one of my
with the tarp around. This just looks so bad.
Top outside advisors and an influential voice within the Republican Party as we work to defy history and conclusively win the midterm elections. Caroline has been a real leader in the White House and has done a phenomenal job fighting for justice, liberty, and freedom since 2018, including our historic re-election campaign, he writes, of 2024.
She'll be a Fox News host.
Caroline has been one of the best White House press secretaries in the history of the office. Thank you, Caroline, for a job well done, President Donald J. Trump. Caroline, obviously, Leavitt had her second child over the summer. She took a little bit of time off to be with that baby. It sounds from what the president is saying that she will still be quite involved as an advisor and as we move towards the midterms. But from what I'm picking up from what he says here, it sounds like not in the day-to-day White House press office briefings, which really she has become legendary in carrying out. Because she has, when she was on leave, they brought in Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, and Scott Bessent, some of the cabinet members to replace her because she's a very strong advocate for the president in that press room. I think that's undeniable. We're going to have more for you on this right after the break.
Yeah, more like how she can excuse Trump's actions every day. She was really good ass kisser. Well, there's Trump's statement and right-wing media. Right-wing domestic terrorist media. She's gone. Dang, who's going to take her spot? Who's going to give the lies of the day without Caroline? No more Caroline press briefings. Anyways. There's something wrong in the country right now. Wages are not keeping up with inflation. Rent is way too high. It's these left-wing ideologies that have created the problem. That's what's created the problem. Really?
Of course. I mean, look at a lot of these young people who are moving to the DSA. What they're doing is I think they're recognizing there's something wrong in the country right now. Wages are not keeping up with inflation. Rents are way too high. I'm coming out of college with massive student loan debt. I'm having a hard time getting a job. And socialism is the DSA is trying to sell sort of a bill of goods to fix these problems, when in reality, it's this left-wing ideology that has created all of these problems in the first place. mass migration being one of the biggest things. Ask yourself, whenever you flood this country with millions of people, primarily illegal, but also large.
Do you lose that argument when Trump has been president now for a year and a half? You've had massive, sweeping, Chungus immigration raids in multiple states now. He says no new crossings since he's taken office. He literally says that every single day. The border is closed in their words, and the Marines are down there. They have the military at the border. You lose that when we should have seen, if the migrants were the real issue, there would be relief by now. There'd be wages would be up, the rent would be down, there would be birds chirping, and God himself would descend upon the U.S. and say, "You've done it, little Jimmy. You got rid of all the immigrants. Your life is good now." Has that happened? No, it won't happen, because that's not the actual problem. The actual problem when it comes to our affordability in the country is corporatism and the corporations and Donald Trump's war in Iran. That's what it is. That's the actual problems, not right-wing fever dreams in which when they get to act out on them, it still doesn't result in what they say would happen, because that's not the actual problem. Insane. The actual problem, see, all these people have problems, but the problem is that they're the problem. These are actual socialist problems. Yeah, blame everything on people who aren't in power. You can slot Republicans out and slot in people like Hutch too, from what I'm seeing. Blame everything on people who aren't in power. Hutch is doing the same thing. He influences in the Democratic Party. It's like truly like this. Like, there are definitely some, like, when it comes to geopolitics, geopolitically, DSA types can sound very similar to MAGA geopolitically. Domestically, it's the establishment. That's the difference. A lot of people are focused on geopolitics and like Ukraine, obviously, and the DSA is absolutely fucking wrong when it comes to Ukraine. So people will say that's the horseshoe. That's the horseshoe. It's not. No, the horseshoe exists in our existence when it comes to capitalism and who's going to uphold that on the left and the right. We don't have communism. We don't have extremes on the left, actually. So the actual horseshoe, in my opinion, is between the right and the left that uphold the status quo, corporatism, oligarchy. That is the horseshoe to me. American geopolitics really only care about Israel. Like, we don't give a fuck else about anything else, if you guys haven't noticed. So the idea that we would frame our entire understanding of what the horseshoe theory is on Russia and Ukraine is now doesn't make sense to me at all. Like, yeah, MAGA and the DSA are both wrong on Ukraine, but when it comes to domestic American issues and working class families, they are literally the polar, like, they're not even near each other. So horseshoe for me is Democrats and Republicans that will continue to uphold the status quo oligarchy. So anyways, back to Hutch again. So he goes, when I responded to him, seeing as the voting bloc you have to unite with, the numbers showing up for Democrats speak for themselves. At some point, you're going to have to drop the ego and do unification influencing, or just continue to punch left to be taken less and less serious. Then Hutch responded, I take the posture I take precisely because the people you are lecturing me about uniting with have never once demonstrated a genuine desire to build a shared coalition. They vote for the Democrats in the end of the day. They just don't spend their time influencing for them. Like, you are the Democratic Party influencer. They're the people that are not willing to build a coalition with it at first is because they're anti-establishment. But when it comes time to vote, they show up. And the problem is, because we have a free country and our country is free and you can choose not to vote, people did not have interest in showing up for Kamala Harris in the way that we're seeing in this era of elections, in this current era in 2026, because now we're seeing how bad Trump is. But it's crazy. It's like you're asking people to sacrifice their principles to cuck out for establishment politicians. And then he says, I don't care about your made up don't punch left rule. I've never made that up. I'm the right wing. I come from the right wing. We only punch left. in my existence. So it's like Hutch is speaking at not me. He's speaking at somebody in his mind who he's made up as, like, because I'm arguing with him. So I now hold all the leftist positions. So I don't know where I said don't punch left, but again, when my upbringing is conservatism, it's like anyone that is not MAGA is the left in that world. And I have done tons of that in my teenage years. That's like all we do. That's like all you do in the right-wing world. So he says it's fucking absurd. You don't get to make up a rule. Again, I don't know who he's speaking at. I didn't make up a rule because I will criticize anybody in power. I don't care, left or right. Obviously, because of how bad MAGA is, it's overwhelmingly anti-MAGA because they're just dog shit and also just like subhumans. But beyond that, I don't know who he's referring to when I'm like, don't punch left. It's like there isn't a don't punch left rule, but it's like when that's all you're doing. And like your entire thing, again, because for me, I can talk about politics on my stream, but my main attention is when I'm out covering current events in real life and I'm doing a stream and I'm standing behind my cell phone or a real camera with my live view. That's when I have like my actual Mercado media matters. Like right now, I'm not like, I don't like when I'm talking about the day's news here at home and whatever, like I don't expect my influence to matter because I'm not trying to really. I'm just sharing with what's going on. I'm not trying to whip votes for people to go out and vote for the Democratic Party. I have who I care about and I'm going to share that. But beyond that, I'm not trying to, like I don't spend my whole day going through policies of candidates because I'm trying to get the best. Like I'm not a political influencer, actually. Hutch is. So I don't make up rules about who you can't and cannot criticism. So I don't know, or who you can and cannot criticize. I don't know who he's talking to. So I responded back, criticism isn't the issue. You spent the entire year since I was out covering Operation Metro Surge treating anyone left as the enemy while MAGA is dismantling the country. Nobody said DSA are above criticism, but obsessively attacking the voters Democrats need and then blaming them for the lack of a coalition is absurd. It's insane. Like Kamala Harris rejected anyone to the left. Her campaign rejected anyone that is like, would be like what you're seeing from Abdul al-Sayed. Or from again, Hong lost, but from like a couple thousand votes. Right? How many people showed up? People were out there. And so when Kamala Harris ran her campaign in 2024 with Walz, and their race was focused on Republicans and centrists, and they still fucking lost. Like, it'd be one thing if Kamala Harris's campaign was even remotely geared towards people to the left of center, and it wasn't. I covered that whole fucking election. I covered Trump and I covered Kamala Harris. MAGA was out dressing up in trash bags. Trump was in a garbage truck. And at McDonald's. This'll win it.
And 50 million people are not garbage.
Yeah, we're not garbage.
The real garbage is, but we won't say that.
Yeah, they're not garbage. Or here's Trump at McDonald's. How about Trump showing up doing random shit?
She worked at McDonald's. How
wow.
good the job it was. She
Need a fry cook for like 5 minutes.
Where they make the French fries, and she talked about the heat. It was so tough. She never worked at McDonald's.
She didn't work at McDonald's. I am. I'm doing it right now. 424,000 views. Meanwhile, Kamala's like unburdened by what has once been and shit, and like talk about my gun. I have a Glock.
So what kind of gun do you own, and when and why did you get it?
I have a Glock.
I got a Glock.
And I've had it for quite some time.
Right.
And I mean, look, Bill, my background is in law enforcement.
Right, and that's bad. So when you say like I got a Glock, I'm one of the when the right wing gun crowd for some reason like they play this hybrid game of like being anti law enforcement while being pro cop at the same time. So like, and especially when you're on the Democratic side, if you're trying to influence conservatives, it's not going to work. They're going to think you're a LARPer in general by like, I got a Glock, guys, look at me, fellow kids, but I'm a cop too. And then obviously, and then when you go to the left, they're like, oh, cop, nope. So, I mean, and then again, there was zero primary. Here, Oprah.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
Wow.
If
And I thought
somebody
that was
breaks in
powerful.
my house, they're getting shot.
Good shot.
Yes, yes. I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
My staff will deal with that later.
So when we're arguing with corporate Democrats and people that are influencing for the Democratic Party, when you lost to a literal fucking clown that showed up for a couple hours in McDonald's, did a couple hours in a fucking garbage truck.
She should never have let that happen. I love Puerto Rico.
I believe the Democratic establishment has lost all arguments to even like. I feel they don't have the position that they think that they have, but they're still going with it because they're the establishment, and that's why. The energy that the liberals have is because they are the establishment and they know it. They know they're going to get the corporate money. They know they're going to have those backings, so they have this energy. But meanwhile, their entire 2024 campaign was terrible, and you were going against garbage man, McDonald's guy. Donald Trump, who launched an insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th. And like the Biden didn't back out until the end, until the very last minute. No primary. When you see how much energy there is around primaries, like when you have them, holy shit. Nothing. Especially like you needed that. You needed all the energy you have this year or like last year and like all this. You needed that in 24. And that's on the establishment Democrats. That's on the establishment for not having a proper process at all. And then you want to blame people to the left because of that? When it's like, oh, this dog shit strategy is dog shit. I don't want to have energy behind that. So anyways, I responded back. I said, criticism isn't the issue. You spent the entire year since I was out covering Operation Metro Surge, shooting in with the lefties, you as the enemy. With Maga, I already read that, sorry. And then he goes, well, thank God, thank Christ. We had people trying to sound the alarm about candidates like Hong and Plattner. What you call punching left might have just saved us two crucial and otherwise winnable races. Then I said, you sounded that same alarm for Abdul al-Sayed, and how did that go? If Plattner wasn't personally scandal-ridden, his policies were vastly more popular than anything centrist Dems were campaigning on, which is true. Graham Plattner was just personally a bad person. But what the policies and the types of politics he was fighting for is the energy that people want. He was just a bad person, obviously. There's zero platform for the establishment. They don't have one. The only ones that are providing any platform in any election at all are the either DSA or the aligned DSA. It's crazy. There are zero. Like what Maga has nothing but Trump cuckery. And then the establishment liberals are literally like, well, we're not the extreme left, so vote for us. We're the moderate. We're not extreme MAGA. We're not the commies. Even though the DSA, like, again, Abdul said himself, I am a capitalist. He's not even remotely close to a... He's not even remotely close. In this interview, he says it. I don't know. I already went over it the other day.
Now, is Michigan?
I don't have a quick clip for it. But he was asked outright, like, I'm a capitalist. You know, I do. There you go. I think it's like right here, maybe.
Has been anti-capitalist on its own terms, and so it's.
Oh, right here. Hold on. Right here. Literally.
Capital based.
Right here.
Is there one policy issue where you can point out a difference?
Capitalism. You know, I'm a scientist, and I believe in good, thoughtful, evidence-based solutions to problems. You know, when it comes to the question of capitalism, allocating capital based on supply and demand at the level at which it's supposed to work, where you have free entry and exit into markets, you know, I support that idea. I understand
fundamentally makes him not even close to a communist. Fundamentally, on its face, it's because he has policies that are going to fight for the working class. Like, again, there's a room for commentary and debate about our economic system as a whole. There would be it's far easier to address the problems that capitalism is doing to us rather than just destroy it completely right now in this country. Like, that's just the truth about capitalism itself, and it's not cucking out. But there's serious problems with capitalism that can be addressed without destroying the entire system right now when it comes to the economy, to like bring it back down. And when people start seeing those results, maybe then it can be replaced entirely. But people need to see the effects of something else, or at least seeing the seeing the rich pay proper taxes. You know what I mean? Or affordability, rent money start going down, rent costs start going down around the country. But that's why people that are anti-capitalist and are actual like communist, etc., are trying to argue that capitalism in general is a failed economic system and we need something else, or we are always going to fail. And I understand that argument too. And I will understand, and I understand that that take. I really do. But I'm like, when it comes to our economic system that we have, especially the whole world runs on it. It's not just the United States, and we could just switch out our system, right, for something that does work. It just on a fundamental basis, because other countries operate on this, you would have to also get other Western countries on board with that as well. And I don't see any other than France, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know who else it'd have to be a coalition beyond just the United States, and we can't even build coalitions in the United States well. Not good at all. You know what I mean? So it's like it's obviously it's something like, again, capitalism is not doing well for us in general, but I don't know how you could realistically implement removal of that system without just completely destruction of everything, which some people are arguing for now. Which, you know what, at this point, I don't care. I don't think me personally, how I feel personally and how I think I hope that this goes are two different things. Like, I will consistently say, I think the United States, as it was hoped to happen, I think we're done. I think it's done. I think Donald Trump being president twice now, I think the United States is doomed to corruption and greed and fraud and just forever wars in the Middle East. I think that we're just going to be that. It's going to be full George Orwell. Like, we're already there, kind of. It's just like slowly destroying. And then when you have politicians that are at least trying to fight against it a little bit, you see how the liberals are treating them too. It's like as if the liberals want to continue the continuation of the destruction of the country. So that's why I'm like, I think it's done. But because how I feel and how the rest of the country works and how, people are still fighting and they're still trying, I'm like, okay, well, despite how I feel, I'm still going to try to highlight efforts that are still trying to fight for it. Are people that are still trying to fight for the working class, that are trying to change the current status quo that has only led us to where we're at now. And it's not, and the reason why Kamala Harris lost is not because you didn't have enough leftists to show up to vote for her. That is the lazy analysis. Which is, again, the true analysis is because of how dog shit the establishment Democratic Party didn't even care to plan to run against Donald Trump again, when he was, like, again, doing the laziest shit possible. I just got to show up and wear a vest and that'll win. That'll get them. That'll do it. That's all I need. Well, ain't even, because like they think the Republic, the Maga knows the establishment of the Democratic Party are nothing. Maga knows, like MAGA, if you haven't noticed, they actually the establishment liberals have done more to push back against DSA type candidates and leftist candidates than MAGA is. MAGA has no fucking idea how to deal with them. MAGA has no fuck, because anyone to the left of MAGA is a socialist. Anybody that's to the left of Donald Trump supporter is a communist. They don't care, because they're just told what they're told on Fox News and they run with it. So they have no fucking idea. So in the real world, right, where the rest of us exist, I've seen more energy from liberals who can understand the situation, I guess, because they're against Trump. But they've done more to fight against people that are like DSA types or whatever than MAGA has been, because MAGA has no fucking idea how. And if anything, once again, it'll be the Democratic Party that will shoot itself in the foot by not capitalizing on this energy and instead choosing a safe center ground that will have no energy. And then it'll be the same thing. They'll cry, why didn't the left show up? Trump is so bad. But like all year long, you're spending time like working with MAGA by influencing against the left. So people are going to wonder, like, what's the fucking point? What's the difference anyways? And then, yeah, he tweeted me the DSA Ukraine take, which again is easy to push against, but my life doesn't revolve around Ukraine. I'm so sorry. I did what I could to help Ukraine, and I want Ukraine to win. And I mean, I fucking went to DC while Biden was president to fight. I got invited again to come to the Next Action Summit, but it costs money to go to that. I don't have the money. I got to spend money covering Trump's fucking mass deportation agenda that I've also fought against in 24. And I don't have the money to go and influence for Ukraine now. I just don't. But also because of Donald Trump, there's no hope for Ukraine anyways, in terms of for the United States to help, which is also what I was influencing back in 23 and 24. There was no shot Ukraine was going to get any support whatsoever if Trump were to win. He ended up winning. And I even had to tell it, and the reason why I even stopped influencing for Ukraine at the level I was because I told my audience, like, hey, if Trump wins and if he beats Kamala Harris, it's going to be very bad on the ground here in the United States. Like, I'm likely going to return to doing what I was doing in 2020 and covering protests and what am I doing? And what I said I was going to happen, because Trump is the same. And so if you think the idea is that you need people that are trying to fight the status quo to cuck out for it and then vote for the status quo just because, which I don't even know, because Donald Trump and MAGA cook on the establishment. They dance on the establishment. And no, I don't expect to win these arguments with Hutch on X when he has 300-some thousand followers and I'm sitting at merely like 17K. So I'm probably going to get ratioed on every post, but I don't give a fuck. I got ratioed against J.K. Rowling too, and she's got 13 million followers. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care how big of a platform you have. When you're being annoying, I'm going to call you out. And if I'm being annoying, then that's your problem. If I'm being annoying, it's your problem. If you're being annoying, I'm going to make you a problem. No, I'm kidding. But I don't know, I feel like, when it comes time to the actual general election, we'll see how these liberals behave. Because like when it comes time to the election, it's like, yeah, I'm going to vote for whoever has the chance to beat the Republicans. But in the primary and how we can fight to get anti-establishment candidates in is like during these primaries, and seeing how these liberal influencers are moving has just been so gross. Especially when you're like, let's just do 2024 again. Like, let's do Kamala Harris politics. That works so well. Kamala Harris politics, that was just, it was cringe. They had concerts and they had Beyonce come out. They had people thinking Beyonce was going to actually perform. Can't believe it. I have no idea why when you see that there's an energy and you're like, I gotta shit on this positive energy.
The DSA has been upsetting the Democratic establishment all year, but last night it was on the receiving end of an upset in Wisconsin. Democratic Socialist candidate Francesca Hong narrowly lost the Democratic nomination for
So then how is it an upset?
governor to the more moderate David Crowley. She lost by less than a percentage point, according to DDHQ. Only about 3,000 votes separated the two in a race where nearly 790,000 votes were cast. Crowley's campaign put out a statement earlier this morning calling for unity ahead of November, writing, "David is focused on bringing people together."
So, well, it's crazy because now, like, as usual with the Democrats, you now have to figure out, okay, what's David about? Because he came out of nowhere. And Francesca Hong has had populist support behind her for months and months and months. And, like, people know what the fuck she's about, to the point where you got Thanksgiving 2020 propaganda about her. What she said, the stupid shit about Thanksgiving in 2020. Or was it 2019? Like, I don't care. Don't care. Just tell her she's wrong and then move on. But beyond that, the idea that now it's the same shit as usual. There you go, Democrats. Here's your candidate. Figure out if you like him or not before the general. That's how the energy that the establishment Democratic Party brings. Here you go. Here's your candidate. Now you got to do homework over the next couple months to figure out if you like him or not. Or they bank on the fact that because MAGA is so bad that you will just vote blue. Because vote blue no matter who, right? That's the slogan in the left wing.
Earning the support of Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and anyone who believes Wisconsin is at its best when we work together and deliver results. Well, there is a result, and he has won over Francesca Hong. What do you make of all that?
What I make is that the polling screwed up royally again.
Yeah.
Maybe Janet Mills should have stayed in that race against Graham Plattner. I don't know. What are the? You tell me, Niall. How are the lefties skewing these polls? They're skewing them.
Well, I don't know. I would need to look at how recent some of those polls were.
They were not recent at all.
Yeah, see, that's, I think, part of the difficulty here, because to my mind, Francesca Hong was an outlier even among these recent candidates because of some of the things she had said publicly and her disinclination to back away from them until she...
But also for like Wisconsin, people waited to decide who was going to go against Francesca Hong, or like who was going to be the best chance to win. So that's why early polls had her in the lead, because again, she has name recognition, she has support behind her, not establishment. It's grassroots powered. So like populism, she was more popular. And when David Crowley backed out, my whole shit just crashed. That's crazy. You don't have an NVIDIA problems lately? Like, brother, anyone? I'm just having computer crashing issues lately, like crazy, like absolutely crazy. Just take the. Are you talking to Maga in the chat? Take the L and stop crying. I live in Minnesota. Like the idea that I hope the best for Wisconsin for their governor race, but I care more about that Peggy Flanagan beat Angie Craig. There should be more attention on that than Wisconsin's governor race. I'm just being serious. I don't know. I'm a little, I guess you could be a little more worried now that the establishment candidate won in Wisconsin and won't have energy or attention when it comes time to go against, the Republican, which is then, the establishment liberals will expect you to cuck out at that point. They'll say, well, you got to vote now. I know we were fighting against you the whole time, but you have to vote for the David Crowley now. You can't even name one policy for David Crowley. My policy is I'm not one of the communists. I mean, none of them are communists. Not a single soul. Not a single one of these politicians. Not a single one of these are communists, guys. Huge mistake.
If you talk about Wisconsin and the progressive movement, you have to start exactly where Alex is reporting there. This is Madison, Wisconsin. It's Dane County. It's where the progressive left in Wisconsin really thrives. She did well, okay, winning the county by about 7.5 points. But it wasn't good enough. Really, that number had to be supersized, maybe even double digits, okay, in the end. Because if you move to the east, this is where Crowley's from. This is Milwaukee. And surrounding Milwaukee, you've got the wow counties. Those are the suburbs that surround Milwaukee. So he wins in his home county by about 1.5 points. He wins in Waukesha by 10. He wins in Washington by 8.5. And he wins in Ozaki by 11.8. Then you go back today and you see why he was able to make this race so good. Really, he dropped out of the race a couple of weeks ago and got back in it.
That's how pathetic the establishment Democratic Party is. Like, you truly, like, you were like, he dropped out, and then they're like, no, please, she could win. She's gonna win. Come back. Like, literally had no interest in being Wisconsin's governor. It's pathetic, guys.
I mean, this race,
like, dude, didn't like you dropped out, which means you have no interest in being the governor actually. Because if you actually wanted to be the governor, you wouldn't drop out ever. Like, you're gonna stay in that. Like, even like gross ass Royce White will stay in every race until the very end. Establishment types will be like, well, dude, we'll try again next time. I'm gonna drop out. Insane.
Race was all over the board. There were one former lieutenant governor who dropped out of the race, another lieutenant governor dropped out of the race, and it was Crowley who was convinced to come back in by the former, now retiring governor.
Oh, I thought it was God. God told him to come back.
Tony Evers. So let me pop out here and show
Tony
you
Evers is God.
We've been looking at our power rankings when it comes to the governor's races now. The four in the middle, the four in yellow here, Nevada, Georgia, Ohio, and now Wisconsin are all considered toss-ups. Could have serious implications now for how they align the state going into 20.
Damn. And you got liberals on there, or you got liberals on X like Hutch, who I'm arguing with, that are like, no, the electability of Hong bad. Yeah, Hong. Or David Crowley will be the answer. What question? I think we would all appreciate an answer of some kind, streaming or written. It is a very good question, Andrew. From this interaction, this is their national platform. I do it. Abandon Ukraine and exit NATO. That would be a shot. That there's the national platform for establishment Democrats is to continue funding Israel and to continue aid to Israel. And the national politics is against that, both left and right. So you would be like, yeah, you're not going to abandon NATO, or in abandoning Ukraine. Well, Trump's abandoned Ukraine. You want to talk about abandoning Ukraine? We've already done that. We've done that already. Ukraine is like, that swimming pool meme. They're like at the bottom, like the skeleton in the chair at the bottom of the swimming pool. Insane. The economic populism is just smoke and mirrors. So you're saying their main platform is Ukraine and NATO, and not and you're calling economic populism, which again it is, when it comes to addressing affordability issues in the country and taxing the rich. What are you even influencing for? I would like an answer on that. I hope that answers it, Jeremy. Hope that answers it for you. This is cuckoldry. Just smoke and mirrors. Nobody's even voting for the DSA or for these types of candidates for their geopolitics. This is cuck. This is like, well, they're bad on Ukraine. Okay, well, everyone is. Except for establishment liberals, but like that's the only thing they could be good at, and they suck when it comes to domestic politics, and they suck when it comes to putting our own soldiers in the Middle East. That's the establishment problem. That is the establishment Democratic Party problem. When you continue to fund foreign war in the Middle East, and when you can't address any affordability issues in the United States, zero, or you don't even have an interest in. Just openly allowing the Republicans to destroy the Affordable Care Act. Just like, it's crazy that this needs to be litigated when 2024 happened, and we saw how the establishment Democratic Party moved. They didn't care that Donald Trump, like, truly, like, if anything, now you can see the establishment Democratic Party didn't give a fuck that Donald Trump was running for president again. They didn't care at all. Because if they did, they would have had even a little bit. They would have organized some no kings shit in 2024. Had some type of ground game. But now, because you didn't, you got to have ground game now But then when you're having ground game, you're still cucking out for the establishment, and that's not going to work because ground game doesn't work with establishment politics because people on the ground are grassroots. And when you're like trying to cash app each other for water and for mutual aid at the mutual aid station doing groundwork, and then you're like, guys, I know we just spent all of our own money to try to fund this protest and to try to push against the establishment. I know what we should do. Let's go vote for the billionaires. That's what they're going to do for sure. People that do ground game are for sure going to just, which is why any liberal ground game is just not done well at all. You got the, what is it? The Unfuck America tour. That's like, I guess, the answer to TPUSA. And they were openly calling the ICE protests cringe. Yeah, it was a while ago now. Jolly Good Ginger and others pushed against Z on Instagram. I don't know if let me see if it's still there. Let me see if I can find it. Where they shook Jake Lang's hand. Like, the ground game for the establishment is to shake hands with Nazis, not actually like fight them like Minneapolis did. Hold on, where is it? Let me try to find it for you guys here. Oh, they don't post much, so it's still there, of course. A day ago? Oh, no, they just keep reposting. They just keep reposting the Jake Lang thing. July 31st. Hold on. Yeah, they milk the fuck out of Jake Lang. So this is the ground game of the establishment, or one of them, which is the Unfuck America tour. So they clearly like drove Jake Lang out to their location, okay? Because he arrives in a taxi all dressed up.
That's something I'm not used to. Guys, what's up, Jake Lang?
Being treated nicely.
Oh, it's Jake Lang.
I guess Unfuck America. I don't know what I'm walking into here.
You don't.
Is this an Antifa terror cell in here?
It could be.
But it's not, because we're the establishment, so of course not. We fight them.
It's Jake Lang.
Oh, man.
Pardon Jay Sixer.
In the belly of the beast.
He has entered
Jake.
the chat.
God bless you. Yes. God bless, guys. Ben's
Shaking his hand.
God bless.
Oh, yeah. This is a perfect metaphor for the establishment and Nazis. Perfect.
Good to meet you.
There you go. Hell yeah. We love that. That's what we do. Remember, in Minneapolis, people that are anti-establishment were hunting him. Literally beat the fuck out of him, left him bloodied for the shit he was spewing in Minneapolis. Because, I mean, fuck around, you find out, right? Well, no, let's shake his hand.
Is this where you guys plan on, like, swarming me and attacking me?
Yeah, right.
No, that's not going to happen because this is the establishment and not people that are, like, about it.
Hey, David.
How's it going?
So, Jake Lang has arrived.
Sorry, Jake Lang.
Yeah.
It's over.
It's over.
This is for America. This is for America.
Antifa
this is for the 140
for the
officers that
win.
were assaulted on Jake.
Antifa for the win. Antifa doesn't shake hands with Nazis.
I will leave.
I don't think Antifa like sits down and dresses up nice in a air conditioned. I don't even know what the fuck where they're at. Some industrial place that they've turned into a studio or something.
Make you a mud hut right where you're from. AC in the mud hut. I don't want anyone in jail. I just want them back in their mud huts.
Giggling and laughing with him while he's doing a racism. Anyway, so he got pushed back. This is a couple weeks ago now. Alexandra Ocasio said, I'm sorry. How is posting a video shaking a Nazi's hand doing anything other than platforming him? You people are clout chasing at the expense of people these men are brutalizing. This is insane. Do better. Right, Jolly Good Ginger, what the fuck? We are shaking hands and debating a self-identified Nazi. Right? You got pushed back. I think, did she respond here? Jolly posts a lot too, so hopefully I can find it. I said, why the fuck did this happen? Why did you shake his hand? You saw how Minneapolis handled him and decided to debate him? That's establishment libs, guys. That's what they're about. I'm peeping it. I'm seeing how they move. They move like this. Because Jake Lang's popular, I guess. I don't know when Jolly went back and forth with it. Yeah, he does a lot. That's Maine. I think it had to have been right before Maine. Mitch McConnell. Oh goodness. Where are we?
So here we are.
July 4th? Oh no, it was after this. It was like July 31st. Did he take push back down? I don't know. I don't know if he might have taken the push back down. Because he didn't want to fight with the... Oh, never mind. No, you didn't take it down. Right here. Oh, no. Get rid of all that. So, this is the pushback on that video where they're shaking Jake Lang's hand. Okay, so story time. The Unfuck America Tour invites a white nationalist Nazi Jake Lang to their studio for a recorded argument. It was not a debate. You can go watch. Debates have rules. People call them out for it. And in the response, the founder of UFA, Z, makes a post deflecting to progressive Michigan Senator candidate Abdul Sayed as a way to try to justify their bullshit, which she did. When Abdul Sayed pushed back against Jake Lang, which we should see that. I should have that for you guys. Because then they tried to say that Abdul was platforming Jake Lang. All this shit is like, I'm not forgetting any of this. This is how these establishment libs move. Where is it? Okay. So they literally platform him, right? As I showed you guys in that video. Try to back out here. And then Jake Lang tries to crash Abdul Al-Sayed's rally. Where is it? Did they delete it? Wonder if they took it down because they did get a lot of pushback because it's like you platform Jake Lang. Whatever. I can't find it now. Let's see, maybe it's further up. No, it looks like Unfuck America Tour took that video down, which is what they should have done. Because the idea that you're gonna blame Abdul Al-Sayed for platforming Jake Lang when he didn't, he pushed him out. Is it on? I bet you it's on his Twitter still. Is this video?
About, like, Pete Heg-
No. What month is this one? August 2nd. Okay, so it's a little further back. It happened in like July. I need to save my clips better, guys. I'm really bad at organizing clips. I know I talked about it when it all happened though.
Why are you persecuting me?
We're gonna clap him out. The reason I wanted to clap him out to USA is because he doesn't hate me. He doesn't hate AG. He don't even hate you. You know what he hates? He hates America. He hates the idea of what America was always supposed to be. Of the people, by the people, and for the people. Where it should not matter the color of your skin, should not matter how you pray, should not matter who you love, that you can be fully and 100% America. He hates that America. He wants America to be small. He wants America to be like him. He wants America to be hateful. He wants America to be a place that does not include. And every day that we go out there and we knock on those doors, we make an argument about what America actually is. An America that is bigger than his hate. An America that is bigger than the small-mindedness that he brings to this. An America that has a bigger heart than the one that he has. An America that is bigger than a Donald Trump who thinks that some people don't get to belong here because of their color of their skin. An America that is bigger than the idea that we all can come together and pray how we choose or not pray at all. An America is bigger than Mike Rogers and the corporate corruption that they all take to run these campaigns to pick our pocket. The America they believe in is one where a few people who look a particular way get to siphon off your money to make billions. That's the America they want. That's the America he represents. That's the America he's so mad he didn't get. And as much as that's an ugly display of the America they want for us, this here is a beautiful display of the America we can yet build.
So that was Abdul El-Sayed's response to Jake Lang crashing his event, not welcoming him in and shaking his hand. Okay, not doing what you saw in this clip. But that is this is the establishment Democratic Party ground game of the Unfuck America tour. They're supposed to be the opposition to TPUSA, but also try to draw people into voting for establishment candidates. So anyway, all that happened. So then when Jake Lang showed up, he kicked him out. So Z responded, who runs the Unfuck America tour, said, "I didn't know that you were the morality police. My bad. But I mean, like, you should be your own morality police when it comes to Jake Lang. And you should understand, like, oh man, yeah, this guy is an actual, like, he's not a conservative, moderate Republican that, he's an actual, like, not like he does the Sieg Heil. He tries to burn Qurans. He showed up during Operation Metro Surge when Minnesotans were being murdered by ICE and came in and was cheering it on. I mean, he's just, not, it's just a subhuman. And so the morality should be on yourself for not having him on. I'd be like, how crazy it would be if I were sitting here, right? And then I say, hey guys, special guest today. And then Jake Lang walks in and then we sit down and have a conversation. You guys would probably be like, I mean, you would probably be like unsubscribe probably, right? Or I don't know, you'd fucking be pissed. I don't know what you guys would do. You'd probably like unsub, fucking, I don't know. It would be bad. It would be bad for me. I know it would be bad for me. But that's not something I'd even ever consider doing. It would be so outlandish. It would be so wild. Right? It would be so wild. It would be good. The views would be up probably. Boy, I'd probably have a shitload of viewers though, right? Right? I'd probably have like 10, but the view count would go up from 330 on YouTube right now to thousands immediately. Which is why Unfuck America Tour brought him on to do that. That's why they brought him on to do that, because it's you suckle a little bit of attention juice from the attention economy. But the morality is gone when you welcome him in to shake his hand and like have a civil conversation with Jake Lang. He doesn't deserve a civil conversation. He's a domestic terrorist and he continues domestic terrorism. So Jolly's response to her was, morality police, are you allergic to seeing the point? Abdul is in a tight, he won. He was in a tight primary race against AIPAC-funded opponent. He is very progressive. You misrepresented this video stating he platformed Jake Lang, which is incorrect, but you use that language because that is the accusation against you. The original fuck-up of platforming him is one thing, but interfering in a tight primary to harm the progressive candidate, all to save face, is another thing. This is careless and dangerous. Z says, let's have a debate about it. Let's have a debate about it. Tell me the time and place. I'm there. There's nothing. What's to debate? What's the debate? Are you serious? Jolly responded, debate you? What the fuck? This entire exchange should be handled in a debate format. I'm beginning to think you don't understand what a debate is. Maga says the same thing to me in my comments, where I'm like, murdering people is bad. And then I get MAGA chuds. Oh yeah, well, if you feel so strongly, you should debate me on it. Yeah, debate content at this point is for people that like that. It does nothing, like, I don't know, maybe there was a time period in which debates would move, but even the debates before on national TV for the politicians are just for entertainment. People aren't watching those debates to seriously be swayed with logic and reasoning one way or another. They're watching it because they want to hear the things. They want to see them shit on each other. You're losing the comment section in my comment ratio here. You're screaming debate me. You don't even know who's consistently scream debate me when they have a valid argument and lose in the comment section. Maga. Same with mine. It's always MAGA, fighting for the life in the comments and don't have a valid response to logical reasoning, so they resort to screaming debate me. It's sad, really, that you're doing the same. You don't need to debate or try to turn our discourse into some more content. You need to fucking slow down and reflect and listen to the hundreds of people calling out what you have done. I'm sorry, but your lectures and weird protests are so cringe, bro. Either have a debate or admit you will lose. You're doing absolutely nothing to help Democrats win. Insane. Weird protests and lectures. So, and again, Jolly doesn't organize protests. He just shows up to the ICE protests. And when ICE is murdering people across the country, he shows up and brings his platform to it. But it's not like Jolly's like, let's do an ICE protest. But even the protest he did organize, which was the veteran protest, had a lot of people show up to it last year. He organized a massive march in DC last year that was veteran led, and I actually went out and covered it. So I mean, I kind of got the same thing from Hutch too. I gotta remember. Let me see where I responded. There you go. So Hutch, and then to kind of close this part out, the leftists I had harsh words materially helped Trump win in 2024. You don't get to virtue signal and caring about ICE abuses while defending the people who made that abuse possible in the first place. Right? And it's like twice now, or he's talking at someone and not to who I am. Okay. So then I responded, I mean, when I'm out on the street covering ICE actions, getting brutalized by them, and also being put into databases while you virtue signal all day from your chair at home is a crazy thing to say, because Hutch doesn't cover things in person. He doesn't go out. He's not getting tear gassed for this shit. He's not getting flashbanged for this shit. He ain't going home with trauma. He sits at home and does what I'm doing here. He does this, which is not hard to do. Sitting here in my fucking desk at home in air conditioning in front of a microphone is not hard. Not hard work. Easy work. Very simple. Very simple to do. Being out in person with this shit that's going on is a whole other ball game. So anyways, I said that's a crazy thing to say, but I'll let that fly. I said I blame the lack of a primary and a Democratic Party failure in 24. And this is the yin and the yang of it, actually, right here. Liberal influencers and liberal establishment types that will blame the left for Trump winning, and people with a functioning brain like me, who will rightfully point out the fact that the Democratic Party did not have a primary. We were essentially given Kamala Harris to vote for after Joe Biden refused to drop out of the election. And also the fact that you saw all of this coming a whole year in advance. Like the Democratic Party knew Donald Trump was going to be the nominee. They knew the whole time he was running shit from Mar-a-Lago through the entire Biden presidency. So the Democratic Party should have known that, hey, like, we're going to need to build a coalition here to defeat Trump in 24. They refused to. The Democratic Party openly refused a coalition. They didn't want anybody further than I don't even know. They didn't want anyone. They wanted the center. They wanted Republicans that were upset from Trump. They were, no, not even upset from Trump, but Republicans that wouldn't vote for him again. Because you still had MAGA, the whole Biden presidency, have an energy to it. In terms of like, we got to elect Trump again and propaganda every day. Right now, they're not doing well because Trump is actually bad. So MAGA has no propaganda to him whatsoever. So in general, Democrats are going to do better. But like when Democrats have power, that is when the issues will actually come back. Because when they have power and then the status quo of life doesn't change. Or we continue sending bombs and rockets to Israel. I mean, this is the back and forth of it. Trout, we are not here to, listen, Trout, it's crazy. Listen, Trout is a perfect example, right? Trout is MAGA as fuck. And he's in here and we're talking about liberal and anti-establishment left politics, and you are here basically shitting your pants and throwing ketchup at the wall. That is essentially whenever I'm having dialogue, and that's why it's so easy to just give up on this, what you're looking at, and just go default back to shitting on MAGA. And that's what people on the left do, and I understand, because the actual issues are what you're seeing here between me and Hutch. And it's not, and I'm not even like, me and Hutch don't, this is just a one-off thing, but like all day long in the political sphere of this is what you're seeing here on the screen, between me blaming the Democratic Party for their failure in 24 and Hutch blaming the left for not voting for Kamala Harris in 24. And at first I would be more inclined to believe Hutch's take on this, like right away, because I was upset. I was like, how could they not? Trump was so bad. How could they not vote for him? And blah, blah. It's because of how bad establishment politics is in this country, and how they're only going to continue to provide Trump and provide worse than Trump. It's just all roads will lead back to right-wing fascism. Well, all lead back to the Republican Party driving that vehicle further right if you continue to elect establishment politicians or continue to influence for them. Because again, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't virtue signal. I go out to the problem, which is what Hutch can rightfully call out, I guess, when it comes here, because he says, I respect how much energy and focus you placed on Ukraine for years now. Do you know why I placed energy and focus on Ukraine? Because I went there and we were about it. That's why. Because when I'm talking about shit, it's because I'm like walking in it, or like I'm in it, or like we're there. You know what I mean? Because that's the way I do it.
This is Russian world.
That's why. Because I'm going to the rockets and I'm going to the places that are affected by the problems we're having and saying that's bad. And you have influencers like Hutch and others like them that sit at home here and sit in their nice air-conditioned, beautiful fucking apartment or wherever they're at, and then influence for the Democratic Party. And that's the difference, is people that are willing to do the ground game and are willing to actually get out there and do the grassroots efforts and call out the problems as they're happening, and people that are going to sit here in their studios. Okay, and sometimes people can do both. Credit like Dylan Burns. Dylan Burns is another example of who can do both, who can be in there at home in their studio and also be in like the front lines and getting hit with drone warfare. So when I have this take, like, I've seen the most insufferable behavior from liberal Democrat influencers this primary season, and I have lost all respect I once had for nearly all of them. And then Hutch hits me back with, oh yeah, well, what about this anti-Ukraine take from the DSA, huh? How about that now? That's why. I mean, it just folds right back into this. It's just him giving me this clip just folds me back into my take of this. Because it's just like, you're being insufferable. You're being insufferable. And if anything, what coalition other than what you've already built from your own following are you going to pull from? Who are you going to pull from? You're going to think you're going to get MAGA to come vote for establishment Democrats when we're seeing the maps of those that are winning? Like, when you're seeing the map, especially, I mean, you're looking at Minnesota. Look at Minnesota. Look how Peggy Flanagan did in Minnesota. Look at where she did really well. She cooked in like the rural areas, like outside of the cities. Like she did, obviously, is doing well in the cities. Dakota County, Angie Craig won. Scott County, Andrew Craig won. Chisago, on the end tip of it's getting towards the up north part. But Peggy Flanagan did really well in rural parts of Minnesota. Same in Michigan. Did really well in the up. Really well outside of, he did well in Lansing, obviously, but did well in rural parts of Michigan that you wouldn't think more left, I guess, which he isn't. I don't even understand. He's a capitalist. He says he is. He's like, even when asked, like, how different are you from Bernie Sanders? And he goes, I am different because I am capitalist. Which is like the core argument, I guess, people would make about who's communist in this country now. When Bernie gets called a communist and shit by people that don't know what they're talking about. And then because Bernie likes Abdul, you wrap him into it. And really, at the end of the day, it's because of Hassan. Like, let's just be honest. Do you know why Hutch is doing this and why liberal influencers are acting like this? It's because of Hassan. And that's it. Because it seems that whoever Hassan attaches to whoever he thinks is a good politician, these types of influencers need to be against, no matter what. To the point where, again, you have them more focused on Wisconsin, which is the gubernatorial race, governor race, over the U.S. Senate. And the big story yesterday for the U.S. Senate on a national level would be the results out of Minnesota for Peggy Flanagan. And there's nobody talking about Peggy Flanagan today. Peggy Flanagan's getting zero national attention. It's all on Francesca Hong in the governor race in Wisconsin, which I'm sorry, but that's for Wisconsin. Shout out Wisconsin, W Wisconsin. But like the things that will actually fight against Trump's agenda will be coming from the Senate until the Senate's abolished. And not really. Senate doesn't, the Senate's so cucked, whatever. But there's more power there. Okay, there's more power to be had here at the national level to fight Trump's agenda for Peggy Flanagan than anything that David Crowley or Francesca Hong could do. As governor of Wisconsin, I don't know, maybe I prevent ICE raids, I guess. But even then, I don't know. We've seen consistently in blue states where that it happens anyways. So I don't know. What fight really are any Democrats putting up against ICE to begin with at all? But beyond that, when it comes to the national fight, Peggy Flanagan will have way more of an impact. Like way more. Because she's going to, like, I don't think she's not going to lose to Michelle Tafoya. She's not going to lose to Michelle Tafoya. So she'll be a senator. And she was the anti-establishment candidate here against Angie Craig, who had $20 million go into her campaign. I think Peggy Flanagan raised through grassroots efforts like less than 5. So this is another example of more money being put into a primary and Peggy Flanagan winning against it. You guys still arguing with Trouton about? He's throwing ketchup, and you guys are getting ketchup tracks. MAGA is done. Listen, Trout, MAGA is done. Okay, when we get to the general election, it's like it's going to be really bad, and you're going to cry. You're going to cry like this guy. POV, here's Trouton about in November and other MAGA.
Favored 3 days ago by 9 points. This is mathematically, it looks impossible. But they're not all the votes from India, but we just seen a 36,000 vote dump, and we got
6-7.
It just the number, the climb that Lisa was in doesn't make sense. It went like this. So we're gonna
It just went like this.
and we'll let you know.
It went like this, like my pillow, like the lumps in my pillow.
I'm not going to sit by until these numbers are explained. Someone's
Wow.
going to have to explain to me why you're polling 79 and we have these
Anybody under the age of 45 in this room? Oh boy. One, maybe 2 people.
We've all worked hard, and we will
No.
get
Yeah, they're all, yeah, it's done. You're done.
on this, and then you will hear it from me directly. We're going to reconcile these numbers, because if they don't make sense, we're going to look into it. And it's just this, we're not going to let this happen if there was something that happened, okay? So that's where we're at, and then
Yeah, we're gonna fight it. We were favored 3 days ago by 9. It's mathematically impossible. It's mathematically impossible. How could they do this? Oof. Is woke really over? Is woke 1 really over? What the fuck is, what is happening? Why are we are damaged?
And everything President Trump has done, Will, think about this. Everything that he's done to try to dismantle that ideology, the left is taking him to court. Every beautiful thing he wants to build, they want to block. Every mile of the border he wants to secure, they want to stop. Every illegal alien he wants to deport, they want to keep here. Every transgender inmate that he wants to be housed in their biologically correct prison, they're suing to keep men housed with women. Every school district where he's trying to stop racial discrimination, transgender ideology, the sexual abuse of our children, they're there defending the abusers.
I don't know about that. That's what the Republican Party does. Yep. I don't know. So they're gonna hammer fist it anyways, even though obviously we know the Epstein files were botched and Trump's name's all over them. And then we consistently see who exists in the right wing and influences in it, and they're all like sex traffickers, like Andrew Tate or like EDP 445, right? That I don't know. See, they're gonna continue that anyways. They're just gonna act as if anyone other than themselves are predators when the right wing is full of them, and like most of their elected officials in office continue to further that.
They're there defending what's putrid and hateful. On race discrimination, battling with every single university to say, just because you're a young white man in this country doesn't mean that you're not allowed to get the same treatment when you're applying for college. They're the ones that are in court every day fighting to say, no, that kind of discrimination is good. That's the kind of discrimination we want. Ripping apart the fabric of society by race, by ethnicity at the seams. That's their ideology. I'm sorry for this monologue, but it's got to be said, Will.
You are the doing that. It's crazy. Projection, MAGA projection, guys. There it is. Seeing Will Kane on Fox News makes sense. Wow, there you go. The American military, and that's a picture. That's like the Tesla on fire blown up at the Trump Tower picture. There you go. Boy, I need to get a DD-214 blanket actually, and just like cuddle up in that every night. Because there ain't no fucking way, dude. I would literally hate life. Having to go out and do detail in DC in front of the golden Nazi statues. So like when you enter DC, the first thing you see now is 2 Nazi golden statues and then the National Guard posted up with a gun truck. Which is scary. They're normalizing the military in the streets, guys. They're the reason why the National Guard has just been out there all year and last year is because MAGA is trying to normalize it. Be like, well, I've seen the National Guard out for over a year now, nothing scary. Nothing out of the ordinary for that. I think they're trying to purposely get the American public to hate the military so that way they can just make it easier to do imperialism. Because there's a lot of reverence for the American military, because throughout history, the American military, when it comes to defending like freedom in Europe, or when it comes to fighting fascism, has done good things. It's done other bad things, like in Vietnam and in South America, and now in Iran and the Middle East, right? But like there's a reverence for the military at least. Okay. But I feel that because the right wing MAGA know that there's a reverence for the military, like, and they do it too, but like they do it in a toxic way, but they need to keep the toxic version of the military as the forefront to where they're doing like IDF, they do IDF behavior. So that way it's easier for people to point to Americans that are against this military or this form of it to be like, oh, they are the enemy because they're against our troops too. It's like they're playing this 4D, 5D chess. It's to get people to be normalized by seeing the military, and then when they do the bad things that militaries throughout our world history have done to suppress elections or to suppress speech, like you're seeing, it will turn Americans against the military, and then the right wing will cook on that, and they'll say, "Wow, they are the enemy. Look, they don't even support our troops anymore." But that's MAGA puppeteering the whole time, though. And they're doing it on purpose because MAGA doesn't care about the soldiers. They don't care. They don't actually give a shit about anyone. They don't care about anyone. MAGA cares about billionaires. Republicans care about billionaires. They care about rich. If you make more money than the other person, then you are a better person. That is MAGA at its core. And then trafficking children. Okay, so the trafficking of children and ultimate power for the rich, and that's it. Nothing else. And then militarized aesthetics to uphold all of it. And if you push against it, we'll use what you're seeing here on the screen to crush you. And that's about that. But when they rolled out the red carpet for Putin last year, when they had the parade, it's just, I mean, by default, they're lowering the view of how Americans are seeing the military. But by design, that's by design. Because then once the opinion of the military go down, it doesn't matter then. It's just kind of like how MAGA works, right? The opinion of MAGA and the approval rating are so bad to where they're like, fuck it then. And they hate us anyways. We'll do this because the libs hate us. So when the approval rating for like the military and people's trust in the military is so low, it's not like they'll go, okay, let's repair this. No, they'll start invading Iran, like full scale. They'll send the troops there full scale. And then when there's undoubtedly anti-war protests taking place in the US because we're against sending our troops to Iran, they'll get to call everybody that's anti-war a communist or anti-American and start the Red Scare. And start doing Red Scare 2. That's likely what MAGA is waiting on. They're waiting on a right opportunity to really, like, anyone that will speak out against the military like that, which it'll be a lot too. It won't be just it won't just be like a small amount of people. Russell Westbrook retired. Thank you for the follow, Debbie. Thank you for the follow. How the Democratic establishment beat the odds in Wisconsin. It's because they, and also like when you, that tells you that, and then the Democrat liberal influencers wonder why people on the left like think that they're the enemy. It's because of this. It's because instead of like, okay, well, Francesca Hong, who is going to run for the Democratic Party, you know, she's not going to run for an independent party. She's got the energy, she's got the wave, she's got people that are out there doing the groundwork. Okay, we'll rally behind her. Nope. Literally, let's install David Crowley, who dropped out, and then force feed him, and then do anti-Hong propaganda with the Republicans. That's exactly how that went. That's how that went down. And that's how it will go down. That's how they tried it in Michigan too with Abdul al-Sayed. Do I need to? They're gonna. Wednesday morning was Carly Hong, KKK. I don't know how they're gonna write this. Tony Evers, popular outgoing Democratic governor, recruited Crowley back into the race last month. In my heart of hearts, I know David Crowley is the best chance we have of beating Tom Tiffany. A lot of people have asked, why David? David is the kind of guy who gets shit done. That's their favorite. He just gets shit done. He just does stuff. What did Dan Green tell me about Peggy Flanagan? Dan Green's a Minnesota Democrat influencer Republican type. You know what's crazy is when I grew up and I was watching establishment Republican content, because like I was doing that too. It wasn't until I was in high school that I started watching like Alex Jones and like Steven Crowder. All gross, but like I'm just being honest with my upbringing. You know, I started watching more anti-establishment types in the right wing when I got older, but throughout my whole like growing up, it was establishment Republicans, and they're like identical to establishment establishment Democrats, basically because the establishment of the Republican Party is completely destroyed. MAGA has taken it over, and it really seems like establishment Democrat types are trying to fill that void that we don't have anymore of like the moderate Republican. and they're replacing that. So he said just voted for Angie Craig because I believe she would be like Amy Klobuchar, an accomplished legislator who just knows how to get stuff done. Just knows how to get stuff done, guys. How does David Crowley do? He's just the kind of guy who just gets shit done. Just does stuff. Like what? Like what? And then they pontificate. Peggy would likely be part of the Bernie crew that doesn't actually ever do anything. But she has. Paid leave, free school meals, child tax credits, the list goes on, especially when we had the trifecta in Minnesota. And when Peggy Flanagan is out there in the protests against ICE, etc., and Angie Craig, where I don't even know what she was doing. What was Angie Craig during Metro Surge? Peggy Flanagan was in the protest. That was enough for me. I'm talking about doing nothing. I'm going to talk about doing nothing. And then all day, Dan Green just posting about, who again, Minnesota, by the way. Minnesota's in his name. Doing Wisconsin postings. Francesca Hong lost because she was a candidate with Hassan. A big thank you for saving Wisconsin. Minneapolis hype man. Wisconsin deserves 2 Thanksgivings. Just we live in you should change your name to Dan Green, Wisconsin. Turns out cancel Thanksgiving's not a winning message. Tee hee 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 hee. Tee hee hee. There you go. There's the first post about Peggy Flanagan winning. That's the one thing I didn't see, right? What didn't you see from Dan Green? Peggy Flanagan winning post, other than retweeting. Do you know what his Peggy Flanagan winning post was? Still Angie Craig. Couldn't even post Angie Craig, or couldn't even post Peggy Flanagan's own words. It was, we got to post Angie Craig's post of Peggy Flanagan winning. Insufferable. Actual insufferable. This is what I sent for him. That's what I responded. You know, that's all you should. You guys can copy that. You can have that. L. Hold that. The national accounts following Minnesota politics for the first time. Peggy Flanagan is establishment. Shut the front door. Insufferable behavior in leftward politics, you guys. And it's like, it's bad. I think it's just all bad. In the right wing, you got Trump cucking. You gotta literally be a pedophile. You gotta like go and put your private parts in the Israel glory hole at the wall, you know, all that type shit. And then on the left, you just be insufferable. You just be a fucking Republican, basically. This shit is so ass. And so it's just insufferable. Do you know where you are right now? Are you talking to Maddie J? What's Maddie J saying? Maga noises? Are you doing Maga noises? I don't know. We can look it up. I don't think there's going to be a recount. She conceded. So that'll be that. She conceded gubernatorial primary race. ABC News reports Wisconsin Representative Francesca Hong conceded the race to Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley shortly after 2 a.m. She will not seek a recount. So there will be no recount. Hello, y'all. All right. Looking forward to Flanagan, El Sayed, and Stratton win Senate. Hell yeah. All right. Anything else for us today? there's yeah, I think that's all I wanted to really talk about. Well, there's anything else to? Oh wow. Yeah, we already went to yeah, I think that's that. All right, guys. Let me check. I don't think there's anything else happening right now. Here's the Secretary of War.
The international left, along with their enabling left-wing media, is plotting to unlawfully assert international criminal court jurisdiction over U.S. and partner military personnel and operations. To be clear, there is no legitimate basis for the ICC's lawless power grab.
We don't. The ECC wants to be loud and obnoxious about this. We're not a part of the ICC and never have been. That's why. So because we're just not a part of it and they have no power over the United States, you can say whatever. That's why like people that were talking about the International Criminal Court will get Trump. It's like I don't think they will. They have no jurisdiction in the United States. There is no international body of anything that will hold any American accountable. It won't happen unless they commit the crime in that country, but even then you'll just get brought back here. Or you can hide. But yeah, it's because we're not a part of the ICC. That's it. You want to be loud and weird. Looks a little less coked out today. Slightly less coked out. I've talked to hundreds of voters in Minnesota have told me, gosh, oh boy.
And we think that all conservatives will come home. We're going to get independents. I've talked to Democrats that want to join this movement because they love Minnesota and they are tired of seeing this. Minnesotans are exhausted. And John, quite frankly, they're embarrassed.
Yeah.
I have talked to hundreds of voters in Minnesota who have told me, gosh, I went on vacation this summer. I didn't want to tell people where I was from because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And it's true. And then we have people leave.
Yeah, that's the winning message for sure. That'll win. That'll do it. Especially when you have, like I said, like almost 700,000 showing up in the Senate primary between Angie Craig and Peggy Flanagan. And like collectively, you're not even close. Collectively, of every single Republican combined, you're not even there. Like Peggy Flanagan alone, without Angie Craig's 274,000, which again, majority of that will vote for Peggy Flanagan. Even Peggy Flanagan by herself, but has more votes than all of you combined. Without counting the 200-some thousand that will also vote for Peggy Flanagan. The numbers just aren't there, and that's your message, or her message on Iran. No, I don't want to like her have a stiff, what'd she say? You got to just suck it up, basically. There you go. This is what you should do for the rising gas prices.
I think right now, at least just kind of keeping a stiff upper lip. Maybe you take one less trip to Starbucks, and so that gas goes a little further until this thing is over and these gas prices come back down again. Let's just try to be patriots about this.
Be patriots about the situation, guys. Okay, suck it up. Pick yourself up from your bootstraps. All right, gas prices. You got just one less trip to Starbucks, guys. That'll do it. And then you just got to suck it up and be a patriot over it. How is this guy? This guy's the Minnesota clown. Michelle Tafoya wins. Ew. Important PSA. Nobody cares. Nobody cares how Lisa Dameth's name is pronounced. She's going to lose. Doesn't matter. Yeah, even by your own tweet standards, nobody cares. When you're only getting 30 reactions on the correction for your nominee for the Republican Party, but yet when you like do, it's no one cares. Nobody cares at all. Oh boy. He was on Scott Jennings' show.
Democrats have nominated Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan as their nominee for the United States Senate race that is now open. And she's a socialist, and believe me, the Republicans have noticed. I want you to take a listen to this, cut 14.
Assalamu alaikum. My name's Peggy Flanagan.
Oh, Minnesota knows Peggy.
Wow.
Peggy, an extremist Democrat who served under failed Governor Tim Walz. Peggy champions the radical transgender agenda and wants to eliminate the use of fossil fuels. Peggy's endorsed by Minnesota's far-left Senator
Tina Smith is on
staffers all of the act poison.
Oh no, hold on. No, hold on, go back.
to work with Bernie
No, go back.
Oh, Minnesota knows Peggy, an extremist Democrat who served under failed Governor Tim Walz. Peggy champions the radical transgender agenda and wants to eliminate the use of fossil fuels. Peggy's endorsed by Minnesota's far-left Senator Tina Smith and is promising to work with Bernie Sanders to obstruct Donald Trump.
I have absolutely no doubt that Peggy is going to follow in Tina's footsteps.
Minnesotans know Peggy Flanagan. That's why they'll reject her this November.
Yeah, how about that one with the Grand Theft Auto sounds and intense things in it?
Joining us now to discuss, Minnesota political expert Dustin Greggy. Dustin, you see how the National Republican Senatorial Committee,
with his XXXY hat back
their
there.
advertisement,
Oh
is
my
going
God.
after Peggy Flanagan. Is this the right vector? Is
With his Minnesota flag pin. Oh, you are a cuck.
tying her to Bernie Sanders? And the
Oh
far
my
left?
God.
Is that the way forward for the Republicans in Minnesota?
What a cuck.
Well, just really pick your poison on how we actually go after her, because it's all over the place.
He's got the Make Illegals
There's Bernie
hat.
Sanders, there's Keith Ellison, and as well, maybe that's not as well known. People might know the group, the DLGA, Democratic Lieutenant Governors Association. The staffers that are a part of that organization actually shared staff between Graham Plattner as well as Peggy Flanagan. So Graham Plattner staffers are working the Peggy Flanagan IEs right now. So like,
That's not bad.
everything across the board, she is attached to every leftist group. The DSA are in Minnesota and Minneapolis are part of her campaign staff. They help push her through. And the great news, especially for Michelle, as we come into all of this, internal polling for Angie Craig turned out to be pretty accurate. The early polling showed about what the results were last night. But get this, Scott, the internal polling with Angie Craig showed, and this was her argument to Democrats to nominate her over Peggy, was that when you tie the fraud specifically to Peggy Flanagan as the number 2 in charge of the entire state under Tim Walz, where all this fraud occurred, we have a tied race.
The fraud was held accountable under Tim Walz. That's why Minnesotans, when it comes to this race, aren't going to be affected by that, because Tim Walz and Joe Biden held that accountable in 2022. The Nick Shirley garbage in last year going into this year was just recycling the same criminal charges that were already brought. It did nothing new. So there is no like massive wide scale fraud in Minnesota. It's just recycling the Nick Shirley propaganda, which is what it was for. The Nick Shirley noise was just to create noise so that way Republicans can like aura farm off of it. All right. I think that'll be it now. That's all. James Talrico, narrowly favored. And we'll see that. The Texas race will be interesting. All right, guys. If a moderate, well-known, very likable, well-spoken candidate like Michelle Tafoya cannot beat a far-left socialist communist candidate who supports kids being butchered in the name of gender, who helps Somalis rip our state out billions, then it's time for any rational adult to think about leaving. Good, leave. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of here. Go to live in Florida. Good. Guys, this is another reason why we need to vote for Peggy Flanagan, to get these absolute Nazis out of our state. Good. Get the hell out of here. Goodbye. Not welcome. They just sit from wherever the fuck they're sitting and just cry from there anyways. They don't actually do anything. That's why Minnesota's been a blue state forever and ever, because Republicans and conservatives just cry and then play national politics games. And gosh, I was embarrassed to say I'm from Minnesota. You're an idiot. Yeah, it works if you're trying to be a Fox talking head, not if you're not trying to get exactly. Literally. Why do you think Lindell did terrible in their own Republican world in Minnesota? Minnesota's national, right? Like it's extra bad. They don't have any national power at all here. And then when you break it down, they're just the, like, Minnesota Republicans are just the reactionary to the reactionary response. So it's like extra dog shit. Because we live in Minnesota, so we're like in the middle of it, of the two coastal elites, the topics of the day. So when you got conservative media, and then people that are conservative Minnesota just receive what the national conservative media say, and that's it. And then their politicians are just the final representation of what that is, I guess. And then it's not going to work when you don't have any policies actually, and you're just regurgitating what Donald Trump says. It doesn't work in places like Minnesota. Especially when you just had Operation Metro Surge come through. And people on the right, too, were like, what the fuck? Inside of Minnesota. All right, y'all. Well, now I think that's about it for today. We're going to be playing Spider-Man. I got my Spider-Man playthrough, guys, coming up. We'll start we can start at 7. Start at 7:15. I can relax. These are nice having these new streams back again. Talk about more than just the primaries as the week goes on, or as time goes on here. But we're gonna have the general elections as well. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. Notifications on. I'm going to be on my gaming channel, guys. So come on over, Mercado Gaming. This is what it looks like. I'm scheduling the Spider-Man stream. So come on over, Mercado Gaming on YouTube. Appreciate you guys. Join the Discord server. Link is in the description if you guys haven't. We'll be back here every day. Monday through Saturday. Sunday's off. I am going up to my aunt's cabin this weekend, so I'll be gone this weekend. But I'll be back again on Monday. But I'll be here tomorrow, so don't worry. So tomorrow and today we're good. Friday I'll be gone, but I'll probably do my safety meeting streams up north. But until then, guys, come on over, Mercado Gaming. Appreciate you. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, Twitch. Thank you guys for watching over there, trying to help me get to partner status. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you guys on the next one. And take care. Bye-bye.
Blood on the wheel, blood on the sea, blood on the hands of all the ones that lie. Storms are coming, best to get to running, or stand your ground once the bullets fly. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. When you meet your maker, you can ask him why. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die.
They just let them do it. They just let them fucking gas us. They didn't stop them. They didn't stop them. They didn't give a fuck. Seriously, guys?
They'll kill your mama. They'll kill your daughter. They'll kill your wife and your auntie and your sister too. Nah, they don't care none. Badges they don't wear none. But soon enough, we'll all be shooting back at you. Really ain't a fucking thing you can do. We got way more guns, we got way more goons. If we stand our ground when the bullets fly, they call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. When you meet your maker, you can ask him why. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. You better get fucking ready. You better wake up. If you think this shit's fucking just some social media shit, you ain't paying attention. 3 things are true. Number 1, the black community told us this shit for years. We didn't listen. Number 2, ICE is a white supremacist wet dream. And number 3, the government's not going to save you.